We often live the life of convenience where we choose the truth that we want to see or not see and accept the lies or turn a blind eye to the lies that we don't want to accept. So we've chosen the life of convenience. And today I have with me Raju Panjwani, who is a leadership coach, most recently an author, which we're going to talk a bit about more, and and Raju, who's also been a in the top leadership of Morgan Stanley, with the MD of Morgan Stanley in the past, who comes with lots of experience to talk about our topic today, which is Two Truths and a Lie. Welcome, Raju, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me. Such a pleasure to see you here.
Raju, so tell me, you've had a corporate experience, you've played several different roles over the span of 4 decades, right? So what is that one single truth that you've come across, which you hold very strongly to?
Well, that's a big question for someone who's lived 66 years of his life. Just one truth. There are many, but let's answer your question really, because not only did I work in the corporate environment, but I think there are two things that change that bring about change in your life. It's something you get inspired by deeply that you need to make a change to transform yourself, or an external catalyst, drives you to make that change. You probably heard where people, fall sick or have a heart attack, and they go, this is crazy, and then they start doing something about it, right? So that's the revelation in the moment that occurs. So for me, the number one truth that I think I discovered over the years is that your emotion, how you feel, is your GPS for your life. And that became, for me, the refrain. And there are many reasons for why. I mean, my catalyst was a tsunami in 2004 when my family and I got swept away. And I came back home and we survived, but nobody thankfully got injured or died. I just basically left corporate life.
Where was the tsunami? Where was this?
This is the 2004 Asian tsunami. So, of course, it hit Indonesia and other places, but that whole region lost about 500,000 people. We happened to be in Sri Lanka with friends. And so to me, it's like something's already happening in our lives, but then you just need that catalyst to push you over the edge. And so that's when I, finally left Morgan Stanley. I've been trying to leave the previous couple of years because I was there for 18 years and feeling that lack of fulfillment, towards that career. So it's like, okay, this is it. Life's too short. Got to move. So when I say the emotion, what you feel, in this case, driven by the fact that life is very short. Life is fickle. So to me, and I often talk about this, it's maybe in the book as well, mortality motivates me. So I even have a little course on mortality motivation, because that, every day you wake up in the morning and you're alive, you better, if you live it like it's your last day. So to me, if you feel a certain way, you know how you feel, and that's the driver for your change. So I don't know if I'm explaining this in the way I think. So that's, to me, that's the truth of life. And the truth, therefore, ties into other things, the fact that, who you are and your relationship with nature and the divine, that's it. So, don't shortchange your life, because life is just a hyphen between birth and death, right? So let's make the most of it.
So it's amazing, right? We've always been told, life is too short. Do everything that you want to do. YOLO, which is, you only live once. And we've known this all our lives. And it's interesting that, you need something that has actually pushed you to the edge or to the corner to actually understand the true meaning of what it means, when someone says you only live once.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, as I said, I've nearly died 6 times. That was the third. There's 3 more since then that happened to me, but I'm still alive. And I go, we all wonder, why is he still alive? I mean, could have been gone many times, but it doesn't matter. That's not up to us, right? So I'd say that I have this mantra that, your behavior and your actions are driven by what you believe, right? We can talk about that too. But the life of externality that we live is a trap. So if you start looking at deep within as to, because as I said, if the emotions are GPS, if it's off the radar somewhere, what you need to do is to get back into equilibrium and stability, right? So our measurements of the success and markers that we have, are all flawed for, across the board. I'll make that statement. In the case of business and leadership, yeah, money is an important, totem. Money is part of it, but that's not the only thing. There are so many things. Money is an outcome. Money is not the goal, and these success markers have to be looked at. But I think it's about beliefs that drive our action, and there is a bridge between that, and that's the emotion. And I think for me, discovery that when I'm feeling down, and we all do, it's what do you do to get back up? And so whatever drives that change for you in that moment, that to me is a day-to-day, moment-to-moment living, because that's really what it is about. So for me, and I tied it to different things, mortality, this, that, the other. Yes, life is short. 6 more indications for me that life is short. What am I learning from it? So for me, that's it.
Yeah, and because I think one of the things is also emotions, and what you're feeling is one, but a lot of things in our life is also dependent on how we reacted when we were emoting something, right? It could be with
Correct.
anger, or you're making a decision impulsively. So yes, I think the mother of all causes around us is the decisions that we make when we are feeling something, right? And
Right.
how we process that information or that situation, and react to that.
Right. I mean, I talk about this a lot. We have an adult has 50 to 60,000 thoughts a day. And you're right that, the question is, does emotion drive your thoughts, or your thoughts drive your emotions? So when you start looking into the subtlety of that moment, what are you thinking versus what are you feeling? You have to figure out which way, what's going to drive it, because our bodies are designed to be led by the heart. That feeling of fulfillment, anger, frustration, joy, peace, all these different emotions that we attach to how we feel. It's okay to feel all of it, because we're human. We must feel everything right in that moment that occurs. So the reaction to it, the question is how long you stay in that reaction. How much do you recover and get up and get back to life quickly? But we're always looking for answers outside of us. And so in the bridge to thought and emotion, I would say thinking kills most things, because logic, part of our brain, always justifies something. And so I'm saying what I have discovered is that when you look at the emotion of it and the fulfillment of life and say, okay, or not, or lack thereof, it's that emotion that you want to overcome. And no thinking or overthinking is going to change anything. It's whatever you need to do to change your emotional state. And that's what drives everything. That's what drives our behavior. Because our beliefs drive our behavior. So whatever we believe will always be true. It always been true. If we believe
Yeah.
in lack, it'll always be lack for you. If you believe
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
abundance, that's going to be abundant for you.
So it's such an oxymoron, because you actually can't control what you feel at the beginning, but towards the end, it's up to you to still continue feeling that, or completely let go and
Yes.
change what you're feeling. It's both in your hands and not in your hands.
Hmm.
Um,
Shalini,
so
sorry,
tell me, now you've
you,
been working with
you're frozen here.
several
Oh, there you go.
executives and other leaders, potential leaders, right? And what is one big truth that you think they're all missing today?
I think I lost your connection there for a second.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. So let me ask that again.
I,
So I
I
said
got
you
the
work.
question. What are
Okay.
they? Yeah. So I think it's one thing to have external, as I said, markers for your life, but you cannot live life based on external markers. So we're always looking for answers outside of us. For example, there's a person who I'm coaching, successful leader, you know, has investment from other companies, etc. But it's the frustration is clear. It's about what am I expected to do, or where am I going with this? And you're looking for help. Looking for help is okay, because you're looking for support to help you. But always reacting to external stimuli or looking for answers for your issues outside somewhere else isn't going to change anything. And why is that? In that moment to moment living, you're always judging yourself first, and you end up judging others. and you have this image of who you are, the perfect image of who you are, you could be, but you're not there. What I call conditioned imagination. Conditioned imagination is, see, this is what happens. So when you imagine that and that doesn't happen, you validate your own truth, which is not true, right? So the fact that I'm going to see, I'm an imposter, I'm not good enough for this, and I'm not loved, because not being good enough is another part of, actually, it's a lack of, love for yourself or being loved. So this conditioned imagination that I should not be like that causes more frustration, and then it validates the fact, see, it didn't work out. I'm a failure. I should just go do this again in life and forget about what my, bosses want or my investors want, etc. It's that momentary, I wouldn't even say flaw. It's the syndrome that occurs, and how quickly do you observe in that moment? Because any frustration, any anger, any negative emotion is going to also give you, in that same moment, the flip side, that I know why I'm feeling this way, or because of this imagined thing, but it all is driven by my consciousness. My consciousness level is so low that all I think about is what I've been told. And then it validates what's already been true. So it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that's actually never going to break that cycle unless you accept and feel all the negative emotion in the moment. And this isn't about positivity or anything like that. It's just feeling it all, dying to it, and then moving forward, because you have to move forward ultimately.
So basically what you're saying is, we do have tendencies to gaslight ourselves, our own abilities, and then you recognize it, and then you just let it pass. Is that what you're saying? You recognize that emotion and not sort of hold on to it for too long.
Absolutely. That's a great way to put it, very simply, because when you feel what you feel, you're human and you're entitled to feel it. And this is a life lesson for me. For example, when I was studying in India, and I was studying for my CA exams, and I was a rank holder in previous exams, etc. And it came to the final exam, and I had never once failed a test. In fact, the opposite. I was always at the top of the class. So I was always looking for these rankings and the markers and the number one. And in that final exam, I failed one of the papers, which made me fail the entire exam. I was so depressed about that. And yes, I could take the same exam again in 6 months and go through it. I'm telling you that for 4 months, I didn't even touch anything. I didn't talk to anyone. I had a big beard. I was like locked up everywhere. And it was the one thing my father, which is a rare thing with me, he said, okay, so you're going to waste more time worrying about what you couldn't do anything about instead of just studying for the next one and get it over with. But Dad, I'm a failure. Well, you see, that's a label. That's what's going to teach you and propel you forward. And so for me, that's another simple lesson that, yeah, failures are your path. Failures are the way you succeed. Otherwise, if you didn't know failure, how would you know success? I mean, I know you know all that, and your audience knows this. So we're so taken by outside opinions and outside situations that we just feel like we're missing the mark with somebody, dad's validation, boss's validation. You could just go on and on. It's crazy. So I think it's important to really recognize, and it's to feel that emotion. Yes, and it's a question of how long you stay in that. And it's not about snapping out of it. So there are techniques and tools to do this. But the point is that if you recognize it, only then will you do something about it.
So speaking about tools and techniques, can one find these tools and techniques in your new book, which is the Bold Conscious Leadership? So congratulations on the launch of your new book. So tell me, what are 3 things or 4 things that one can learn from this book?
Somebody just reacted to this book and said, wow, this is a lot of heavy reading, too much wisdom for me. Well, okay, so my business partner and I captured as much as we could from what we've seen clients transform into, and without divulging any client confidentialities, we've taken the concepts and put them out, because this is based on one of our coaching programs. There are many elements there, but things. If you say 3 things, I can rattle off 3 things. but there are many more. I think the connection with your own self, which sounds trite, hackneyed, whatever the word is, cliche, it is the first thing you have to work towards. And for that, there are clearly many techniques, and everybody knows about yoga and meditation and walks in nature. All of those things are there. But we all know that, but we also, as we say, common sense is not common practice. So what do you do about it? Do you actually do it? Like before this call, I do breath work for every several times a day. But this breath work was important for me because I need to feel what I need to feel. And there are just switches that you can actually make happen in your emotional state. So your state's the most important thing. So first and foremost, how do you change your state? Using some of these techniques. The second, which is tied to the living in the past, I think it's about what gets you back in this moment, because you really cannot do anything about what just happened 20 minutes ago or 10 minutes ago. You can only move forward. And our thinking around the future, constantly thinking about what is and what isn't and what will be and what will not be, with those 50, 60,000 thoughts, 90% or 98% of them don't have any bearing and they don't change anything, except your time ticks away. So there are some things in the book that you can actually capture. We're big on journaling. I mean, journaling is a big thing, and there's like 3 different types of journals you keep. I have a future journal, which is really writing the future journal as if it's happening in this moment. That to me has been one of the most effective techniques, and I use it, and that's why we talk about it. And Trisha, my former business partner, also has some amazing ideas there. So take a look at that. And the third, the whole objective of all that we're doing, and we're calling it the bold conscious movement, because movements outlive our lives. And at this stage of my life, I really feel like, yes, the level of consciousness in the society overall in this world is relatively low, and we've become all divisive through these last few years. And we need to get back into awareness of who we really are and collectively who we are. So that's the first pillar. But bold, I think anyone can be more bold than they are yesterday or today. And
So what do you mean bold in this context? Is it like risk taking or taking an extreme decision?
Great question. I think it's about making the progress. So there are 5 elements we think about it as we think about bold. I mean, these are all dictionary words, but the thing is, what does it really mean? So we say, you got to be decisive. You've got to be, ambitious. You've got to be all of that. And then the 2 other, sorry, did I say 5? It is 5. Losing my third one. But the 4th is heart-centeredness, and the 5th is humility. It's very difficult to learn and make progress unless you have these last 2. So all of that put together is bold. You don't need all the information to make a decision, for instance. We all wait for the whole analysis paralysis. You don't take action. You don't make a decision until you have everything done. That's part about decisiveness. We say you look at all the leaders in the world, they have maybe 30, 40% information, and hunch is a big part of it. So they make a decision, because ultimately nothing moves unless you make a decision, as you were saying earlier too. So I think it's a decision. So that's a big part of the bold, but you have to come from a place of heart and being humble to see that you're always learning, and you take yourself out of the center of the equation and put the others in that. Because when you lead, you're not leading from the front, you're leading from the center. So that's how you raise that's how you be bold. And the bold is just making progress from one day to the next and say, okay, I did go on camera. I'm scared to death. I haven't done it for 3 years. I haven't spoken in public for 3 years. Oh my God, the nerves are shot. What am I going to do? And you're just recording yourself, or you're talking like a call like this. Nerves can kill you, right? So, because that means you're focused on you. But if you start focusing on value that you add to others, which is what you're there for, do that. And I was an example. 4 years ago, 4 years ago, I had made three years of excuses of not to get on camera. I used to do public speaking all the time, but then when it came to recording yourself, putting yourself out there in social media, etc., look at my videos from the past, like so clunky and horrible. still are. But you keep making progress. So you have to be more bold in whatever context that you feel you're moving forward. So you'll see in this cover of the book, there's two mountain, there's a gap here. There was a bridge from here to there, but we eliminated the bridge because we want people to jump into the unknown, because that's how you make progress. If everything was worked out for you, the path was clear, beautiful, life would be amazing. But that's not how life is.
Yeah, I think speaking about what you just said, as well as the truth, right? I think the single biggest truth for me, which is come as a realization over several years, was when you're in college or in your early 20s, I thought whatever you have studied and set out to do would be your thing for the next 40 years, right? And I had difficulty in accepting that this is not what I meant to do, but at the same time everything felt like unknown, right? And exploring an uncharted territory was like something that I couldn't get myself to do for the longest time. And I did. Eventually, I did. And as you said, I think when I finally decided to step out and try new things, I think that's when things worked out for me, in terms of, success and, moving forward, right? But of course, in this whole path, it's, yes, of course, people talk about your success today, but then probably I have failed way many more times than I've had success in the last 10 15 years. And people often don't talk about failures as much as they talk about your success. But
Exactly.
I think my biggest truth has been that what you start with will probably not be your end destination, and you'll have several twists and turns, and you need to embrace it. And I think that's the beauty of it as well, and we should not miss the point.
That's exactly right. And to be honest, and you never get it done, and you still don't know what's coming next, right? So being very comfortable with the discomfort that's coming, it's okay. That's what I live by. And actually, that's hard for a lot of people to see me. Why are you going through this? Is it because I'm meant to? Because whatever's on the other side, I don't know what is on the other side. But you cannot have it all figured out. So if you move in confidence and boldly, the path will come to you. And yes, it's full of failures, because I have so many
Yes.
scars to show you. It's unbelievable. I'm on my 6th startup right now, and I can't even tell you what it means to be successful, because it's, we say we're helping leaders redefine success on their terms. So whatever that is, right? It's still never going to be a destination. You'll never get it done. And it's just a journey. And it's really, that's the momentum of an enjoyment of the discomfort. It's not enjoyment, but hey, no pain, no gain either.
Absolutely, absolutely. So through this experience of working with several entrepreneurs and business executives, and also from your past avatar, right, what is the biggest lie that we've been telling ourselves all along? And maybe we know it, but we don't want to accept it.
Mm.
So what is that one big lie that we tell ourselves?
That's a very good question, and a very tough one, right? Because we believe everything we've been told. You come into this world, you're born into, whatever is already in existence, right? And then we leave, and we don't know what's what, because our parents and our grandparents did the same thing to their children. It just keeps passing down the generations, that you must, 500 years ago, there were no schools, but now you must go to school. There must be a degree, and you have to have this, then you have a job, and blah, 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 blah. And that's your career. No, you must not do this, because that's not going to make you any money. If you become a doctor these days, no good. Go do something else. Go become an investor. It's like, so we have these imaginary markers of where we're supposed to be. And then we get there after 30 or 40 years, and then it's not what you want. So to me, the biggest lie is that my parents are God and they must always be right. That's just such a lie. The truth is, they really love you. They care for you. They just don't know your unique heart. They just don't know your unique heart, because your heart is unique for you. And if you follow your heart, you may have to stand, rebel, do whatever. I'm not saying leave your parents. I don't know. I'm just saying that they love it. They did the best they could. But you have that GPS inside of you. You know, if they push you in this direction or that direction, that doesn't mean that you have the right direction. But if it doesn't feel right, it's better that you try something else that feels good in that moment, and you may fail. And then mom and dad will say, see, I told you so. You're not you're not equipped to be a doctor. You're very smart, but you're not hardworking. You don't like the sight of blood. They know all that somehow. But if I, as the recipient of that information, say, I don't know that I'm that lazy, or I'm not that scared of blood, but it's worth a try. And it may happen that they're right, and they would validate their beliefs. But I have something unique to offer somewhere. Of course, it's going to take skills. It's going to take new things, new learnings. And so I think that's, for me, it's about not following the heart, where I blew up for 40 years of my life. I'm not saying in that way, but you just get the confidence to move forward, and the personal judgment that goes with it. It's so debilitating. Constant personal judgment, not to mention that you always let other people's opinions impact your life, and that's the sad part. And I think that if as much as we can tell our children, youth, as they're growing, that listen, you follow your heart. It doesn't matter what you end up. There's no path that's already made out, preconceived for you. Just move forward.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think most Indian kids probably, I think, have been through a similar situation, right? And think you've been told that there is a blueprint for life, and you sort of just follow it, and you're really scared to deviate from it because you think there is nothing else for you to do, other than the set course.
Yep.
And for me, I think the biggest lie that I told myself was, I think, you think that when you're successful, you will be happy. I think that's the biggest lie I told myself, because, you're working hard, maybe you're, getting a lot of recognition, you're getting awards, you're maybe getting a promotion, and you move forward, and you think, oh, when I get all of this, I'm going to be very happy, right?
Yep.
And you probably sacrifice so much along the way just to get that. And every time you achieve that milestone or reach that milestone, you're not as happy as you thought you would actually be, right?
Exactly.
And I think the point that I'm trying to make is that success and happiness are two independent things, and
Yep.
you can have nothing and still be happy, and happiness is a state of mind, and we are seeking that through external forces, but it's all internal, and it's all within you. So it took me a long time to realize that.
That's wonderful. Are you doing it at a young age? I wish that someone had told me, give me all this wisdom back then. But yeah, so I think we sound like we're total agreement, and I'm validating what you're saying. Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Raju, and all the best for your new book. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to find it useful. Do you have any parting thoughts for our audience today?
Well, I think, as I've said along in this whole thing, you must follow your heart, and nothing should stop you from moving forward with your heart first. The brain's designed to follow your heart, not the other way around.
And what a wonderful thing to say, Raju, because today is the Teachers' Day in India. So I think that's it is
Wonderful.
Teachers' Day in India, and I think that's such a wonderful advice to everyone.
Yeah, I have
Thank you.
new respect for teachers, and I just remember my own, and I go, wow, it's amazing what they do, and how little they get paid. So sad.
Indeed.
But yeah,
Indeed.
beautiful profession.
Great. Thank you so much for joining me today, Raju.
Thank you for having me, Shalini. That was wonderful, and I hope to see you soon.
Look forward.
Take care. Bye.